Hi Alicia, how are you going?
Yeah, good. Yourself?
Good. So we're back at it again with part B of this assignment.
Excited.
So excited. This time we've got a few questions though. So as you know, we both worked on the project Menstruation Nation, so that's good. You know what I'm talking about.
How do people?
It's periods, not the problem. So, first question. If you lead the community development project that we obviously came up with, what might I change or do differently and why? So, firstly, the fact that it's in Tanzania, love it. But also, I'm not at a stage in my life where I think I could just get up and go over there for 6 months, run a pilot program, and I'm definitely not culturally aware enough to go and do that either.
Yeah.
So that brings us on our next point. I think before the project even started, we should have done a cultural awareness group project of just, learning more about cultural awareness so that we all start from the same baseline, so that when we're actually sitting down and coming up with ideas about our project, we're all coming from the same place rather than, I know a few times we had to go, can you just go quickly research, about female genital mutilation because I'm not really sure what goes on there. Like we weren't all on the same page. And then other people full bottle, which was great, but also people didn't really know what everyone else was talking about in the beginning. So I think that would have been a great way to bond as a group and also all start from the same place. I also think that we could have put more numbers alongside the Gantt chart. As you know, I'm quite an optimistic person. And I think that it was great that we made a 3-year plan, but I think we could have made a longer one, maybe 10-year plan. And I know that could have easily changed overnight, but we could have just said that we could have potentially gone into this many schools, it affected this many kids, so that when we were doing our pitch, we can say, the 10-year plan might look like this and we're affecting this many people on a larger scale, thinking big. Also, they're more likely to give us cash if we've thought about it long-term sustainability. Also, more research into accommodation and security. I know we talked about we're going to different areas of Tanzania and there's different, obviously, political views as well. So I know that there's a few gangs in Tanzania and the other projects that have gone over had to get security, but maybe, and we dedicated some money in that to the budget. But do we need that where we're going? Because we just assumed that we did when we, we're spending all this money on accommodation and security, and we could have been putting that somewhere else in a more effective resource area. Also, I'm very aware that there is 10 girls in this project, women, Menstruation Nation, like power to the people, girls, get it. But also I think we need men in our project as well for a few reasons. A, because where we're going, Tanzanian culture, men are more respected and we're more likely to be going through men to check that things are okay. And I think that it would be more effective if we had men on our project so that they would be able to discuss that, and also it would create, the rapport that we would need to build for us to then go in and do what we need to do as well. And also I think that we have, subconscious biases about menstruation as women already. So if we had men in our group project, maybe a few things would have been different because they would have challenged our views or challenged, the belief system that we have around ourselves. Also, obviously, talking about cultural awareness again, the stigma and beliefs that surround menstruation in Tanzania at the moment are obviously vastly different to the Western beliefs that we have. So we would need to be more culturally aware of menstruation over there and their views and beliefs on it as well when we're making our decisions, but as well as going over there and how we tackle it kind of thing. So obviously, female genital mutilation over there is just, it's culturally acceptable. It's what they do. Parents, grandmas, mothers, they do it to their children because they believe that that's what they need to be doing. It's the right thing to do. Whereas Western society, it would be a crime to do that to your child. So, and this is also affecting a few things when we go over. We're going to find champions that are going to be able to keep our project running and the sustainability side of it, but also will parents even be willing to let their children learn and be educated about menstruation? So those are a few things that I think we need to work on as well. Which brings me to my next question. So they're asking about strengths and weaknesses and what we would change to make sure that if I did run this project, I would be running it to my best of my abilities. So firstly, strengths that I have, which are personally believe in myself, but also reflected in the Spark Plus results and the emotional intelligence self-reporting we did in class. So I'm a very empathetic person. I make sure that each group member's heard and that everyone's getting a say and everyone's pitching in, but also I'm not afraid to challenge the group's views or whatever we've come up with, but I'm also aware that that is only in group situations where I know people. Yeah. I'm very aware that if I got up in front of a massive group of people that I didn't know who thought, they believed something and I didn't, I don't think I'd be able to go, no,
Excuse me.
Yeah. And in terms of my emotional self-rating, I'm a very optimistic person, which also can be a weakness as well.
Yeah.
Empathy again came up, and my interpersonal relationships that I'm able to have with other people, it's a very strong suit for me, which brings me to what I need to work on. So my self-reflection as well of myself. So my emotional self-awareness, my emotional expression, and my independence were my 3 biggest weaknesses. I think I scored like 3 or 4. And I know that's a self-rating, but I also know that when I handed it to people in class and they read it, you were like, yeah. So in terms of this, I'm aware that I struggle to accurately label what I'm feeling. And whether that's down to vocabulary, I don't know how to describe it, or whether I'm also very uncomfortable describing situations when I'm not okay. Yeah. I will tell people when they ask, how are you going? Always good. I always reply good. It doesn't matter. And people believe me, like I'm convincing. But, only my real mates know that deep down something might not be okay or, there's something else that I'm not comfortable with discussing in a big group.
Yeah.
Which if you're going to be a leader of a big group, you have to be able to go in and go, guys, I'm having a bad day. It might not be as productive today. Because if I lie and tell you I'm good, everyone's just going to be like, why are you slacking off? Like,
yeah, true.
Yeah. And also, so expressing my emotions, I know that that's down to the way that I was brought up. I'm from a family that doesn't really discuss emotions. Okay. We were told you build a bridge, get over it, have a cup of concrete, which I love, that mentality about myself. But I'm also, this year's the first year where I've been able to, and in this class as well, accept that not being okay is okay. You just need to ride that and feel it and, talk about it, which I don't do, which I'm working on. Also, independence. I'm a very independent person in, situations where I feel confident, but obviously situations where I don't feel confident, I'm not an independent person at all. Yeah. So, and people don't believe that about me,
right?
Because I come off so yeah. So obviously in the group when we're making decisions, I'm able to come up with ideas, but I'm also constantly looking for everyone to be on board. Otherwise, I'm like, no, flag that. Don't worry about it. Even if I'm real passionate about it, I'm like, no one else is on board. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
And also I need to be aware of my own values and beliefs, and being too empathetic is a downfall for me as well because I burn out really quickly.
Right, yeah.
I also need to challenge myself a little bit more and, realise that fear and disappointment and failing is okay. So ways that I'm going to improve this, spoke to the uni coordinator, Nige. If you're watching, it could be someone else. So after the emotional intelligence class, so the weaknesses that I need to work on, the ways I'm going to do that, I need to reflect more on my emotional intelligence in myself, but with other people as well. So being able to sit down once a week, with someone that I trust, and talk about things that I'm actually not okay with or not comfortable with. Have a little cry, be okay with that, move on, feel better.
Yeah.
And then eventually process, and then eventually be able to do that in a big group.
Yeah.
And feel comfortable with doing that. I've also started a weekly word or emotion that added to my vocabulary. This week it's euphoria.
Love that.
Instead of happy or sad or angry, because that's all I got. So it's, I know I'm 1 week in, it's one word, but I'm feeling good. Feeling good about that. Also, I've started reading Chicken Soup for the Soul, and that's kind of like my first step into reading and learning about a little bit more in terms of how I can apply my own emotions to my leadership skills so that I can better those, obviously, to be able to work in this group and run this project potentially. Also, forcing myself to be courageous. I know I talk about being courageous all the time, but whether or not I actually do it is a different story. And accepting challenges where I could fail or disappoint people, because it's not often that I'll accept challenges where it could go bad, I think. And these are vital to the project for the following reasons. Obviously, if I'm comfortable discussing my emotions with people, it'll be better for the project because I'm able to gauge how people are going and then, be like, I feel you, I'm on the same page. Yeah. Also, realising negatives and positives of leaders, even if they're effective. So for this little bit of research I did, Adolf Hitler and Fiona Wood, and obviously both excellent people, excellent leaders, and excellent I take that back. Excellent leaders, but effective leaders, not necessarily always for the good of humanity.
And
also taking what I like from that and taking what I dislike from that and being able to mold that into leader that I want to be and learning from that. And yeah, being courageous. So I've decided to do the pitch for public speaking.
Hey.
Did that turn off? Oh, it's still on. And then, yeah, so cool.